Your kids will never be invited again, my mom said at Thanksgiving. My dad added, we changed all the locks and the gate code. We don't trust you. My son took my hand. I replied, noted, that was clever. But you forgot one thing. 1 year later, they came to my place, asking for a seat. My name's Alicia. I'm 33, a single mom of one stubborn 9-year-old named Theo. Oldest daughter, default planner, the person who remembers birthdays, brings chargers, and cleans the kitchen even when I'm a guest. I teach middle school English, pick up weekend tutoring, and know how to stretch a paycheck until it squeaks. Thanksgiving last year. My mother's dining room smelled like cinnamon and control. China on the table that we only ever use to impress people we secretly look down on. I had just set down a bowl of green beans when Mom's voice cut the room in half. Your kids will never be invited again, she said, loud, bright like a toast. We're tired of the chaos. Forks paused in midair. My aunt blinked. Theo froze beside me, a napkin crumpled in his fist. Dad cleared his throat and added, almost cheerfully, we changed all the locks in the gate code. We don't trust you. He jabbed a finger at my chest like I was a delivery he hadn't ordered. Silence hummed. My sister Paige kept her eyes on her phone. My brother Jay smirked into his wine. Theo reached for my hand under the table, small and sweaty. I squeezed back. Noted. That was clever. But you forgot one thing. What's that? Mom's smile was tight, the kind you pull on to hide a wince. I leaned in, kept my words soft. Wherever I go, Theo goes. And wherever Theo goes, the peace actually follows. Paige snorted. Jay laughed low. Drama queen, he whispered to no one. I didn't argue. I folded my napkin, walked Theo to the coat rack, and helped him shrug into his jacket. Mom said, without looking at me, leave the pie. We'll keep it. I took the pie. We stepped out into cold air and porch light. Behind us, the door clicked, the new deadbolt sliding home like a final period at the end of a sentence I didn't write. In the car, Theo whispered, did we do something bad? No, I said. We did something new. And even as my hands shook on the steering wheel, something inside me felt quiet, like a door had shut, yes, but another one had finally opened. I never share Theo's private details online. No images, no identifying info. His privacy comes first. Here's what new meant and why the old way was killing me. For years, I was the family wallet in sensible shoes. It started small. Mom said, can you grab groceries? I'll Venmo you. She didn't. Dad said, your brother's between jobs. Spot him rent for 2 months. 2 months became 8. Paige said, childcare is so expensive. You love the kids. Could you take them every Saturday? Also, gas money? I paid it. I covered copays, cosigns, and one memorable co-disaster when Jay tried to flip appliances and flipped my credit instead. I told myself it was temporary. I told myself I was protecting Theo's future by keeping peace now. But the truth is, I was buying access. Access to holidays, to the illusion of family, to the scraps of approval handed out like party favors. The script was always the same. Alicia, you're so responsible. Translation, you'll pay. Alicia, you know we'd do the same for you. They wouldn't. Alicia, it's just money. Not to me. When Theo was 6, he had pneumonia. I slept in a hospital chair for 3 nights. On day 2, Mom dropped by with a magazine and said, you really should have taken better care of him. Then she asked if I could swing her dental bill just for this month. I paid it while Theo watched a cartoon with his oxygen mask fogging in little bursts. A year later, Dad borrowed my emergency fund for a can't-miss fishing boat share. The boat missed. The fund was gone. I rebuilt it dollar by dollar, tutoring 7th graders who called commas sprinkles. And the locks?
The gate code? That wasn't about chaos. It was about the week before Thanksgiving when I finally said no. Jay had texted, "Need 5K by Friday, real estate move, family investment." I replied, "Can't." He wrote back, "Won't." Then Mom called, "You're being selfish. Blood is blood." I said, "Theo is my blood." She went quiet, then cold. By that Thursday, the new keypad was installed. The family group chat blew up with subtweets disguised as prayers. Paige in the chat, "Some people forget who fed them." Aunt Carol, "God sees everything." Dad, "Code changed. Too many visitors. Safety first." I stared at those messages, then at my spreadsheet on the kitchen counter. Every transfer, every loan, every temporary auto pay I'd been stuck with when they never switched it back. I had receipts. I had dates. I had text threads where thank you never appeared, but more did.
The day after Thanksgiving, Paige posted pictures. The caption, "Family first." My chair at the table, empty. Theo's place card, upside down. That weekend, Jay tried a new angle. "Look, sis, we're all struggling. You make a teacher's salary, but you also tutor. You've got side gigs. It evens out." I thought about my car with the check engine light that flickered like a bad mood. I thought about my pantry inventory list because overstocks meant we ate. I thought about Theo's sneakers, scuffed but paid for. There was also the paper trail no one knew I noticed. 6 months earlier, Dad had listed me as backup pair on a store card I never opened. I only found out when a pink envelope showed up at my apartment. Past due. Clerical mistake, he'd said. The mistake had my social security number on it. Another mistake. Mom signing for a daycare late fee in my name because I had a steady job. When I pushed back, she hit me with, "Don't be dramatic. Your sister needed help." Help had turned into obligation. Obligation into expectation. Expectation into disrespect. And then Thanksgiving happened. The locks, the gate code, the announcement like a slap disguised as a toast. Theo asked for turkey sandwiches that night. I cut the meat too thick. He didn't complain. He never does when he sees my jaw set. I sat with him on the couch, both of us under an old blanket I'd rescued from my grandma's house before Paige could rehome it. I opened my laptop and made a new spreadsheet tab. Title, Boundaries. Row 1, Close joint accounts. Row 2, Remove every auto pay with my card. Row 3, New bank, new passwords, new emergency fund at a credit union no one in the family used. Row 4, photocopy everything. Row 5, save screenshots of the chat. Row 6, therapy. I didn't blast a speech. I didn't send a manifesto. I just got to work, slow and quiet. If they wanted me out so badly, they could get all of me out. My logins, my money, my time, my unpaid labor, my convenient silence. That's when the pressure campaign started. Mom, if you loved us, you'd help. Dad, lock changes were a wake-up call. For you. Paige, Theo misses cousins. Jay, loan me $2K or I'll tell Dad you told me about the boat. Don't make me. I didn't reply. I archived. I documented. I scheduled my own Thanksgiving next year, on the calendar, far, far away from their table. The breaking point wasn't a fight. It was a spreadsheet and a folding table. February. School fundraiser night, I was working the book sale table when Dad showed up with a sheepish smile and a man I didn't know. "Sweetie," Dad said, "this is Pastor Ron. We're putting together a church scholarship fund for
kids like Theo. We thought you'd head it up. Financially. Pastor Ron stuck out his hand. We heard you're generous. I looked at my father. He looked back, confident, because the old Alicia would nod and pay and smile. I slid the fundraiser sign and clipboard toward him. Before we talk generous, you'll want to see something. I flipped open the manila folder I had started carrying everywhere. Hard copies. Dates. Amounts. My notes in neat little boxes. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I just read. November 12, $480, page daycare late fees, paid under my name. November 18, $1,250, Jay's deposit, never returned. December 3, $96, Mom's temporary internet bill, still on my card. December 20th, discovery of store card open with my SSN. January 6th, credit union account created. New passwords. January 20th, therapist intake. Dad's smile thinned. Pastor Ron shifted, uncomfortable. I held up screenshots. The group chat family first, the locks, the gate code. You told me you didn't trust me, so I adjusted accordingly. Dad whispered, That's not what we meant. It's exactly what you meant. I tapped the folder. This is over. No more loans, no more surprise bills, no more guilt. If you speak about Theo or me in that chat, assume I'll read it in a courtroom tone. For once, he didn't have a comeback. He took Pastor Ron by the elbow and left without taking a cookie. 2 hours later, the family chat lit up. Mom, how dare you embarrass your father? Paige, you kept records? That's disturbing. Jay, delete that or I'll... You know what? Forget it. I replied once to everyone. From now on, everything between us is written, dated, and saved. Keep it kind or keep it to yourselves. Then, I muted the thread. The quiet after that ping was the first real peace I'd had in years. The aftermath was messy, like detox. Shakes, sweats, cravings for a hit of the old pattern, the call, the rush to fix, the tired pride after. I had to white-knuckle myself away from it. Practical first. I met with a banker named Rosa, who wore bright lipstick and spoke like a coach. We set up 2 accounts, bills, and buffer. I opened a safe deposit box and put in the folder, the spare birth certificate, and an envelope of cash. I moved my phone plan off the family discount. It cost more. It bought oxygen. I told Theo we were doing a family reset. I drew a budget on poster board and let him put stickers on savings goals. New sneakers, a state park weekend, a used bike that didn't squeak. We named the emergency fund the Dragon. We fed it every Friday. Theo loved feeding the dragon. He'd drop $4 in and whisper, "Grow big." I found a therapist who took evening appointments. The first session, I talked for 48 straight minutes. The therapist said, "That sounds exhausting." And I burst into tears so hard, my glasses fogged. Socially, the world shrank. The family chat kept moving without me. Photos of brunches and matching pajamas, and we are so blessed. I would have felt the old panic. Fear of being replaced, except the replacement had already happened. I'd just stopped auditioning. Mom tried a new angle, public pity. She posted on Facebook, "Pray for families under attack." A few relatives messaged me privately, "Your mom is hurting." I sent 2 sentences back. "I love my mother. I am protecting my son." Then I put my phone in a drawer and graded essays about symbolism that were really essays about loneliness. Money, once I stopped bleeding it, did a weird thing. It stayed. The dragon learned to sit. By spring, I had a small cushion. By summer, I had 3. I paid off the last of a credit card whose interest rate had felt like a punishment. I kept tutoring. I said no to Jay's investment pitch and Paige's, "Can you just chip in?" and Dad's, "This is for the church." The pushback escalated. Paige in chat, Theo looks skinny in that picture. Mom, we worry about him. Jay, hope he has male influences, lol. I didn't take the bait. I booked Theo in a Saturday coding class at the community center. He met a retired electrician named Mr. Lewis, who treated him like a small scientist. He built a little robot that bumped into walls and apologized. He named it Sorrybot. It was dumb, but perfect. Then something I didn't expect happened. People who weren't my family noticed me. A parent from school dropped off a bag of hand-me-down soccer cleats. Outgrew overnight. Do you want? Yes, I wanted. Another mom whose husband traveled invited us for Sunday spaghetti. She had loud laughter and a dog that hated everyone except Theo. The dog slept on Theo's feet like a living weighted blanket. We started hosting tiny things. 2 other single moms and their kids, bring your leftovers, no one cleans the stove. On our fridge, a magnet board filled with drawings and bad jokes. Theo's favorite? I used to be addicted to the hokey pokey, but I turned myself around. He told it every time and laughed like it was new. Work noticed me too. I was asked to lead a grant project for a classroom library. I built a wish list, wrote blurbs, posted photos of kids holding books like trophies. A local cafe did a fundraiser night. We raised enough for shelves, beanbags, and a sign Theo made that said, "Read Zone" in crooked letters. He made me promise not to fix the spelling. I didn't. Meanwhile, the family narrative twisted itself thin. Aunt Carl posted a verse about rebellious daughters. Mom liked it. Paige liked it. I turned off the internet and taught Theo how to roast vegetables. He said, broccoli tastes like trees. I said, good, eat the forest. By autumn, I had done something that felt like jumping and like landing. I signed a lease on a tiny townhouse with a tiny backyard, 2 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, a hook by the door just for Theo's backpack. The rent was a stretch, but it was ours. No keypad we weren't allowed to know, no locks changed without warning. I painted the living room a color called soft fern and immediately got it on my elbow, then everywhere else. Theo made a fort out of boxes and declared the dining area the peace corner. We planned our own Thanksgiving. 8 chairs, 2 borrowed. I bought a tablecloth with lemons because the clearance section said so. I brined a turkey in a cooler that barely fit in the shower. Our guest list, the 2 single mom friends, their kids, Mr. Lewis from coding, and Donna from the cafe who had once comped Theo a hot chocolate when he looked like a wilted plant after soccer practice. The Monday before, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. Then came a text from Paige. Mom says we should come by Thursday. We're doing a drive. We'll pick up a plate. Translation. We want your table, your food, your story, without you. I typed, deleted, typed again. Then I sent, we have enough shares for the people who sat with us when no one else did. She replied with a long paragraph that started with wow and ended with ungrateful. I put my phone face down and stirred gravy. Thanksgiving afternoon, our house smelled of lemon and thyme and surviving. The doorbell rang. Theo ran to it, expecting Donna with rolls. It wasn't Donna. It was my mother, my father, Paige holding a covered dish and an expression like she was doing charity. Dad, hands in pockets, shifting from foot to foot. Mom smiled, the church smile. We're here for the food drive. Dad added, we need a seat just for an hour, family picture. He glanced past me into the warm room, the extra chairs, the banner Theo had drawn that said, thanks big time. Theo moved behind me, fingers finding the hem of my sweater. My heart thudded, but my voice came out even.
You told me last year, I said softly, that my kids would never be invited again, that you changed the locks, that you didn't trust me. Mom's smile faltered. We were upset. You were accurate. I stepped half a pace forward, enough to fill the doorway with calm. This table is for the people who trusted us when it cost them nothing and when it cost them something. Paige rolled her eyes. You're really going to make this a thing? I held her gaze. It's already a thing. It's called a boundary. Dad looked at me, then over my shoulder at Theo's banner. For the first time in years, I saw confusion instead of certainty. He cleared his throat. We could start over. We could, I said. Starting over looks like apologies, amends, and leaving before the food gets cold. No one moved. Behind them, Mr. Louise's car pulled up. He got out slowly, old man careful, carrying a pumpkin pie with both hands. He saw my parents on the porch and nodded to them politely. He saw me, then Theo. He lifted the pie a little, like a salute. I made my choice. Happy Thanksgiving, I said to my parents, to Paige, to Jay. We're serving at 4. There's a shelter on Maple that always needs hands and cans. I pointed at the covered dish in Paige's grip. They'll take that. They'll take you. I closed the door, gently, like setting down a book. Inside, Theo looked up at me. Did we do something bad? He asked, almost exactly like last year. No, I said, kissing the top of his head. We did something new again. We set the table, we ate, we laughed. We took a picture, Theo insisted, with the timer, where everyone's eyes were actually smiling. On my phone, the family chat buzzed a few times, then went quiet. Quiet can be cruel. It can also be kind. 1 year ago, they changed the locks. This year, I changed the story. Here's what I learned. Love without respect is a leash. Money without boundaries is a trap. Family first without accountability is a cult with matching pajamas. I used to think survival meant shrinking, apologizing, smoothing, handing over my last 20 to keep the peace. Survival, it turns out, looks a lot like growth. Slow, boring growth. Budgets, spreadsheets, screenshots, therapy, friends who bring foil, a kid who names the emergency fund the dragon and feeds it like a pet. Do I miss my parents? Yes. I miss the fantasy version of them that existed in my head when I was 10 and still believed parents were weather, inevitable, unchangeable. But people aren't weather. They are choices. And I have choices too. If you're where I was, here is my tiny script. You can borrow it. I won't charge you. Noted. When someone shows you who they are. That was clever. When someone tries to make cruelty look reasonable. But you forgot one thing. When someone thinks your silence is consent. The one thing is this. You get to lock your own door. You get to decide who sits at your table. You get to feed the dragon and also yourself. You get to say, no is a complete sentence and mean it. Last line, because I like neat endings. My dad called last week. He said, very quietly, we're thinking about counseling. I said, I hope you do. I did not offer to schedule it. I did not offer to pay. After we hung up, Theo came in with a stapled stack of papers. He wrote an essay. The title was crooked, letters big, What Thanksgiving Means Now. It said in 9-year-old spelling that Thanksgiving means people who actually show up, and pie, and mom doesn't cry in the car. I taped it to the fridge under the read zone, and then I fed the dragon, and then I called the shelter on Maple and asked what they needed this week. My mother once told me, we don't trust you. Good. I finally learned to trust myself.